Kid Gloves is funded in part by the South Carolina Arts Commission, which receives support from the National Endowment for the Arts.
You're now watching
Kid Glove.
Club is sponsored by Empowered to Win and the Boys and Girls Club of the Midlands. Make sure you like,
share, and subscribe.
Kids Gloves. My name is Josiah Rosario, and this is my coworker,
Malachi.
And
I'm Eric.
And
I'm Corey.
And today we're just gonna ask you a few questions.
What got you into drawing?
What got me into drawing? Basically, I got into it just from watching like the old school cartoons, like when I was growing up, like watching like Flintstones, Jetsons, all that good stuff, and just seeing, you know, how that artistry was made. I knew it was a series of drawings, but I didn't know how they made a move. So I figured the first step was to just draw what I saw. So that's how I kind of got into it, and just from reading comic books. So that's how I started. What about you, Eric?
How I got into drawing. I'm more of a video game person. I've also got into cartoons and anime and such. What drew me into actually drawing is Kirby. Kirby was my step into actually do the style that was meant to be how Kirby was. And now I'm here. I've been drawing since middle school, and like the adventures that I see in most of the shows that I see today pulled me in further to, you know, be a better artist.
Okay. What are some tips you can give?
Or some tips you
tell
can
me on shading?
So this is the one I can answer. So as far as shading, you always want to know what your pressure is when it comes down to drawing itself. When you shade, you want to go light to dark. Basically, how your pressure is, you can go hard or soft on your colors and your grayscale. The harder you draw, the darker your shading will be. The lighter you draw, the lighter your shading.
And from drawing and doing animations, how much money do you make annually?
I believe that question.
Well, it depends on what it is you're working on. Every project is going to have a different price tag on it. So basically, it's really hard to give like a rounded number, a good rounded number, because that could change like from any time depending on the project that you're working on. So you could be working on an animation that is like a web animation that could be in parts, and it could be like 2 minutes, and based off of whatever you've negotiated with the production company, that's how much you're going to make. And it's all contract based. So that could change. Like once that contract is done and you move on to something else, then that number of what you're working on that next project could be a lot bigger dollar wise than what you just left. So it fluctuates throughout, you know, the years if you're just simply doing animation. So it's, you know, one of those things where it could be this number this year, and next year that number could be a lot bigger based on your contract or whatever it is that you're working on.
Okay. What is the best drawing or animation you have ever done?
I've ever done? Probably Jetboy. Jetboy is probably the crown jewel of pretty much everything that I've done, because it started off as a comic book. I started it as just this idea that I had to create this comic book from, and we did that. And then to see it graduate from being on pages and to seeing it move, that's a huge achievement. And I got to work with a lot of very talented artists when it came to making that happen. So I would say that would probably be my favorite.
What got you to be a team?
I'm sorry?
What got you to be a team?
To be a team? Pretty much, we knew that we were going to start a studio, and any real good studio, your studio is only going to be as good as the team that you put together. So I just called up a bunch of my friends that I've worked with over the years and, just got them together. I already knew their talents and everything and their work ethic for the most part, and said, hey, let's get together and make the studio. And, the team was kind of built from that.
What is the best drawing you've done?
That's what I've ever done. This is a character from the Rocket Knight series. Named is Sparkster. He is a possum knight with a rocket on his back. He's a very old character, and when I saw him as a kid, I was definitely like, "Oh man, he's actually really, really cool. I want to actually draw him." And so it got me to go ahead and finally do an anniversary tribute for him, because it's been a very long time since he's ever became a big hero of mine. So, when I drew Sparkster, I was like, yeah, he has to be in my top favorite. So, in other words, for the characters that I see to be really big heroes of mine, it got me to want to create my own types of heroes. And that's where I am now.
Is there any animations that you can show us?
That's a good one. Corey.
Yeah, we were just showing one a minute ago. But yeah, I mean, we got plenty that we can show. It's just a matter of how you want to see it.
Yeah.
Well, actually, my lock screen on my phone is Jetboy. This is the actual animation playing on my lock screen. So I don't know if you can see it on. Yeah. So yeah, that's what we just watching on the screen. So yeah, that's it. That's what I did with Mike Sofaluke, who is a Nigerian animator based out of London, and he did all the lead animation on the Gorillaz music videos. So he's one of my co-directors on Jetboy. And this is probably the first collaboration we did with one other animator buddy of ours. But this is pretty much how it all came together.
I also have another question. How long did it take to make that animation?
Roughly about 2.5 to 3 months. And that was back in 2017, 18. There was about a month because we were all working on other projects at the same time. So we just kind of had to get in where we could, come together. So it was 3 project leads, which is myself, Mike, and a friend of ours, Vasquez, down from South America. And we all came together, and I think Vasquez had a team that he worked with on keyframes and stuff like that. But for the most part, we were the 3 heads, and it took us about maybe 2.5, almost 3 months to get that out. So,
Is there any animation you would like to show us?
Well, currently I'm the colorist, so I don't really have any animations this year.
Yeah, so
but I will be helping Corey with the with the coloring in animation.
Yeah.
Have you worked with any? Actually, what's the coolest person you've ever worked with?
This man right here.
Wow, that's sad, man.
Have you ever worked with a celebrity?
Actually, I have not. What about you?
Yeah, I'd probably say Mike Mike was probably one of the celebrities that I had the privilege of working with. He was pretty solid. He's been a friend of mine for about 17 years and pretty much taught me everything I needed to know. But he was one of the first celebrities that I had the privilege of working with. And he wouldn't even call himself a celebrity, but I would. But he hates it. But I do it anyway.
Well, thank you for your time.
Mm-hmm. All right. Thank you for having us.
You're welcome. All right. Great day.
Thank you.